What's up, guys? So today the problem child is back in the shop, and if you're familiar with this channel, this does not surprise you. But today I'm going to be getting the AC working in this car so I can start driving it again. It's been sitting for a few weeks. It's been too hot to drive without air conditioning, so that's what we're doing today, and let's get into it. So, to catch you up on what's going on, the air conditioning didn't work in this car when I got it. And the reason why, I had no Freon in it, so I spent an entire day already once going over stuff on this car. If you can see it here, the manifold AC lines, the lines that run through here from the compressor, have been replaced already. I've replaced some O-rings on the other side. Back here at the back, I had to replace O-rings where that goes in, and I got it sealed up. I had it working for about a week, and it blew out the front seal on the compressor. Was not able to do anything about it at the time, so the car's just been kind of hanging out without air conditioning until then. So today we're going to be finally fixing that and getting it straight, but the first thing I've got to do is to make room to get to there. We're going to take this fan out, and to do that, we're going to pull these mounts loose. What I'm going to do is take these 4 bolts out, loosen these on both sides, flip this up, and push the engine back so we have more room to get to the compressor. And of course, as soon as I said that, I changed my mind. Basically what I did, I decided to take this just completely out of the way so that I don't have anything there. This one I'm gonna leave here because it doesn't come this way far enough to cause a problem. On this 97, these 2 fans are 2 separate pieces, and we're only gonna be pulling this one. So we're gonna leave that one in there. So the next step is we've got to get this fan out of here so we've got some space, and then we can push the engine back some and get to the compressor, which you can kind of see down there. I've got the engine prop back a little bit, and then also what I've done is I took the inboard belt. Let me get a light in here so I can show you. I took the inboard belt loose, pushed it off of the AC compressor, but left it in there. That way I don't have to pull the outboard belt off, and I can reroute it pretty easily. You're welcome to take both belts off if you want to. It'll be more stuff out of your way, but it's just not necessary. So the next thing I've got to do, because this system is already empty because it's leaked out, I don't need to evacuate it. So the next move is gonna unplug the electrical connector from the compressor and undo this line. Then we've got some bolts in the front to take care of. I'll try to show you some decent shots of that in a minute. The manifold lines off of the compressor. The best thing that I have found is just a deep well 15, if this will focus on it, an extension about this long, and what I'm using is a flexible handled ratchet which bends in a couple different places, and that's just because it's kind of a tight fit in here. I'll show you as best I can how you have to, you basically are going to go in from behind this line in like this, because the nut is right here in the middle. So when you get that in there, then once you bust it loose, you don't even need the ratchet anymore. You can just reach right in between here and take the nut the rest of the way off by hand, which is what I'm doing right now. And I dropped it, but that's okay. It's not going to go anywhere. I can get it. And then you just pull this back till it clears the stud. Okay, so because it's hard to see in there, I'm going to use the new compressor to illustrate a couple things. The way this compressor is going to sit in there, it's basically going to be on end like this. This is the electrical connector you have to unplug. Then on the back of the compressor, this is where the lines go. The new one's plugged off right now. But this right here is where there's another bolt on the back that you're gonna have to take out before you can pull the compressor out, as well as there being the bolts that go through these holes on the sides. So that's what we've got to take out next on the one that's in the car. You look right here, and here's the engine, look straight down through here. You can see where I've got the ratchet, and then you can come at it from this direction and get this forward bolt. That's basically this bolt right here. Okay, so all of the bolts on the front of the compressor are accessible from the top. However, the bottommost nut on this one was seized pretty badly. So what I did was lifted the vehicle, took the wheel off, and dropped this little side pan, which gives you a straight shot in to this lower nut, which is right here. And the only reason that I did that was so that I could get some heavier duty stuff on that to break it loose. It actually took like a 1/2 inch drive. I mean, an impact wouldn't even break it loose. It was pretty crazy how tight it was. So that's why I did that, but you don't have to. You can totally get those from the top also. Okay, a couple other things that I have forgotten to mention before. When I went to do this, there are actually 2 bolts on the back that hold it to the rear support brace. And this is what the old compressor looked like, and this is the reason why we're replacing it. There's actually play in this in the front, and you can see here where it's been leaking, but it blew that seal completely out. So the next thing we're gonna do, this stud needs to be transferred to the new compressor, but we have a little bit of prep work to do on the compressor first, and for that, I'm gonna need to look up some specs. Okay, so for prepping the new compressor, first of all, I was wrong. This Delphi compressor does come with its own new stud. It just doesn't come in it. It was in the box. Also in the box, it did come with this little baggie with new compressor seals, which I'm gonna put on, even though the line that's in there is new and actually also has new compressor seals on it. Other than that, and make sure you look at the box on this. This one specifically says to drain the oil that's already in it and fill it with oil to the manufacturer specifications. Some of them come pre-filled, some of them come dry. Make sure you check and read the box so you know what to do. The oil that I'm preloading it with is this PAG 46 that we have here at the shop. So that's already been done. So basically the next thing I've got to do is I'm gonna take all of these fasteners and clean them up because they look like crap. Okay, so once you've got the new compressor in, all the bolts back where they were, and the lines reattached, which I've already got here. The one thing that I did do, other than cleaning the actual fasteners up, is because those nuts were trying to be seized before, I did anti-seize them before I put them back. So the next thing to do now is we're just gonna take the belt, pull tension off of it, and just wrap it back the way it was. So once you've got everything back together and the belt's routed correctly, and you bolted everything up, fans back in, mounts are back on, the next thing we've got to do, because this was empty and we are going to be filling it from empty, this is going to be a little different than my last AC tutorial. You're going to need a set of manifold gauges like this, which you're going to hook to your high and your low sides, and I do talk about that in my last AC video, so I'll link that up above if you want to check that out. Then the first thing that we need to do, because now the lines have been open, they're full of moisture, they're full of air, we don't want that in there, so the first thing we've got to do is hook this up to this vacuum pump, turn that on, open these valves wide, and then you'll see it pulling a vacuum on the system. And we're gonna let that sit, let that go for a few minutes to let it evaporate any moisture that might be in the lines and get all of the air out. That way we have the whole system under a vacuum before we start to charge it. Okay, so I've had this pulling a vacuum for a while. If you look here, it is holding the vacuum. I have the valve closed at the moment, and it's been sitting for a couple minutes and it hasn't lost the vacuum, so I can be relatively sure that it's not leaking, the next thing we need to do is charge it. Now, if you're not sure how much Freon a car needs, generally under the hood they have one of these stickers which will tell you what refrigerant, and then will also generally tell you how much. If you look over here, this is our spec, 1.88 pounds. So that's what we're gonna be putting in it. So what I've done, I've taken the vacuum pump out, replaced it with this 30-pound Freon container, which I connected to the same hose. And it's important that when you do that, you purge this so that you don't have air in the lines when you go to charge it. Then the next thing you're gonna do is sit it on a digital scale, if you don't have an AC machine, which I'm sure a lot of you won't have, and zero it. Now when you go to charge it, this is gonna show you a negative number equal to how much Freon you're putting in it. So first, we're going to take and open this some. Generally, you want to charge it a little bit, maybe say half a pound, and then you want to look around and just make sure you don't have any leaks. I'm pretty confident I'm not going to, since not very long ago I've been through this entire system looking for leaks, but I'm still going to stop about there just to show you. Okay, so there we're at a half a pound. You can kind of run your head around, listen for any kind of hissing. Everything sounds good here. Another point, just while we're looking at this, is make sure that this is plugged in. If your engine temperature, your intake temperature sensor is not plugged in, your AC will not work. I found that out the hard way once. So we're holding good there. We're at 0.6. We're going to go ahead and open the low side again. Let some more Freon in there. Now you will usually, depending on how much pressure is in the container you're using, you will usually come to a point where the Freon will stop transferring on its own. And that's just because the actual pressure in the tank is equal to the pressure in the lines in the car. And if that happens, that's not a big deal. It just means you need to crank the car, turn the AC on, that way it'll pull the low side pressure down, and then you can charge it the rest of the way. This, so far, is doing pretty well. For about a pound and a quarter and still pulling. And remember that you are going to charge through the low side, not the high side. Now you'll notice it's slowed down. It's not pulling Freon as fast. So we're going to close it. And what I'm going to do is step around here and crank the car. And we're gonna go ahead and turn the air conditioning on full blast, put it on the max setting. And now if you look, your low pressure has dropped quite a bit. And that should allow you to go ahead and charge the rest of the way. Okay, actually overshot just a hair, but that should be okay. So now that the problem child has functional air conditioning and I can actually be comfortable driving it, expect to see this car start showing up in videos more often, and hopefully it behaves itself for a while, because I'm kind of getting tired of fixing that one and I can get on to some stuff on the 99. But other than that, I am done for this video. Let me know what you guys thought of this. Drop a comment for me down below. Like the video, and if you're new here, subscribe. If you're already subscribed, make sure you hit the bell icon so that you know when I upload. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!